So I know how excited you're going to be at this. Maybe
Uh-oh.
you already know, but on 7/25 of 2025, Happy Gilmore 2 releases only on Netflix. So if you don't have a Netflix subscription, you got to get one because our
swear to
favorite
God.
golfer of all time
Yeah.
is going to have another chance to thrill you.
I swear to God, I saw that news item come across my desk. I almost made it the joke for this show. I almost made it the intro joke. So I'm glad we're talking about it because yes, I know you're a fan. I know you're a fan of the Happy Gilmore, and you made me go watch an Adam Sandler movie, and I still hate them. And so,
Come
there you
on.
go.
This one, I mean, this is going to have Eminem in it.
I don't find them funny. I don't know what it is. I don't find him funny. I never have.
That says a lot about you.
I
I
do.
don't even know if we can be friends anymore. I'm just gonna leave it right there.
There you go.
Just remember, everybody has a story to tell. Tell it well. On This Old Marketing.
And now, for your listening pleasure, here's Polizzi and Rose, covering the week of media, marketing, and digital content news. This Old Marketing. Take it away, boys.
Well, hello, friends. Welcome to This Old Marketing, a special episode of This Old Marketing, proudly brought to you by the HubSpot Podcast Network, the audio destination for business professionals. And I'm Robert Rose, and welcome to our, very special episode number 472 for Friday, March 28th, 2025. And with me, as usual, my pal, my colleague, and a guy whose Cleveland Browns might just actually bring in another quarterback. Yes, that's right, Mr. Joe Polizzi.
What are you trying to do to me?
Yeah.
What are you?
I have been following with great interest the drama around all of this. It's been fascinating.
Yes, there's lots of drama because there's also the Haslam Sports Group, which owns the Cleveland Browns, is trying to move from downtown Cleveland to just south of Cleveland in an area called Brook Park, which is right by the airport.
Sure. Yeah.
And so you have that whole thing going on. And the reason why Haslam wants to do this is they want to create this big complex, a dome stadium. You can use it 365 days a year and also control all the real estate and parking around it, which no matter what happens in downtown Cleveland, it's on the waterfront right now. It's a beautiful area. But they won't control all those parking entities. You can't build certain places. I mean, you've been there before, so you know the drill. But a lot. So you have that controversy going on if they're going to actually move out of Cleveland again. Maybe not go to Baltimore, but they are moving, so everybody's having a hissy fit about it. And then you've got this quarterback scenario where it sounds like it might be Deion Sanders' son. Or
you think?
Well, that's.
I did not see that one. I saw, who did I see?
Cam Ward was the other one.
No, I heard, there was the Kenny Pickens stuff. And then there was, of course, Russell Wilson rumors. And then there were, what's his name?
Kirk Cousins.
The other one. The old Eagles quarterback.
Ron Jaworski.
Oh,
actually,
we're the only ones laughing.
I would take Ron Jaworski over Deshaun Watson right now.
Yeah.
Right now.
Meanwhile, you've got Deshaun Watson posting up his workout videos, sort of trying to make some sort of, I guess, social media marketing play.
There's so much horrible things going because if I'm getting this right, Deshaun Watson is getting married. And so there's a whole fresh new memes about massages in play because it's not it's not good. It's not a good. There's nothing Deshaun can do that is going to be good PR.
That's right.
I mean, everyone in this city does not like him.
Yeah,
and it's I don't know what to say about it. But to your point, just to finish, and I'm sorry, everyone, we're talking football here. We can get a journey.
Well, I just I wore my hat. I wore my hat today, and
As you see, I have the Cavs on because
I know, and you got the draft coming up, and
but yeah,
all of
they're either gonna pick, and I don't know what's happened since we last, since this will come out, but they're either gonna take a journeyman quarterback like a Russell Wilson, not Aaron Rodgers, but it could
No.
be what's the other one?
What's the old Eagles quarterback? Not Nick Foles, but Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz
is still in the league.
Yeah. They were looking at Carson Wentz.
Sounds like a Brown already.
Yeah.
we do that on my son and I do that all the time when there's a player we've never heard of. It's like, who's that? Sounds like a Cleveland Brown already.
Yeah, there you go.
So we'll see. I think what's going to happen is they have no salary cap at all to do anything with, so they could draft a rookie quarterback on a rookie salary and go for the long term, and we'll see. Nobody's going to be happy regardless, so what does it matter?
I mean, what the heck do you do with Deshaun? Do you just bench him? You have this. I mean, they've restructured that deal 3 times. They're just trying to push that all that money as far back. I think it's going into 2030 now. So nuts. I think that they're not cutting him because if they cut him, a lot of that money moves into this cap season. Sure. Yeah.
So basically, they just have to keep him on the team, and he's hurt right now. He's not going to play for at least the beginning of part of next year. And of course, if you watched any games last year, you know that he doesn't have it anymore.
No, he just doesn't.
He's not the quarterback he was 5 years ago.
He never did, really. I mean,
I take 3/4 of the quarterback. I'd take 3/4 of the quarterback he was when he was with Houston, but we got 1/4 of it, and basically that doesn't. So thanks for bringing that up.
You're welcome.
I really, really appreciate that. So,
well, we have a special episode. We have been talking about and getting questions, by the way, from many of our fans and many of the folks that we deal with and on a day-to-day basis about, is it harder to be a content creator now in 2025 than it ever has been before? What would we do if we were starting out from fresh, as content entrepreneurs, as content creators, as influencers, to whatever extent that means? What would we be doing differently now in today's modern environment? So we thought we'd do a show on it, basically talk about some of the 5 or so sort of best practices of that we would start to employ if we were actually doing creating our own brand, as it were, from scratch. And so,
but also we'll try to cover both as a content marketer. So you're doing content for a brand, and also as a content creator. A lot of these things overlap. They're similar, but a little bit different take. But we'll try to cover.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you for that correction, because it is absolutely true that they are. There's in the Venn diagram, they are very much overlapped with each other. So it is the kind of thing where we will be talking both about you as a brand, or even a content creator within a brand, and then you've got content creators as sort of operating independently as content entrepreneurs. So
this is very exciting. I'm very excited.
It's very exciting. Let's dive right in. We've got 5 things. We even did special, awesome.
Oh, look at this. Look at these slides here. Let's see if we can do this correctly. Boom.
Ooh, boom.
Look at that.
That's slides and everything. It's like we're like a webinar.
We're really going into all the innovation. We're going to turn our podcast into a webinar, folks.
Yeah. We have PowerPoint and everything.
Everything is so amazing here.
Yeah.
So,
Anyway, so let's tee up the first topic here, which is really, basically, you had sent over some thoughts. I had some thoughts. We sort of combined them into these 5 things. And the first thing that we'll talk about is this sort of the content playbook that we're not talking about, that we should be talking about these days. And it's sort of like figuring out what we're doing, basically figuring out what our goals should be, like exit before you enter, and figuring out where we want to be. And it's this building, and you talk about this a lot and have been talking about this a lot, but it's really even more important in 2025. What do you mean by that?
So let's break it down into 2 different parts. So first, as a content marketer, of course, we need a goal, and we talk about that all the time. I break it down into sales, savings, or sunshine. Are we trying to drive direct sales through our content marketing effort? Are we trying to save costs and do something more efficiently than something else we're doing from a marketing standpoint? Or sunshine is pure loyalty? Are we trying to create a better customer and somewhere more loyal customer through our content marketing initiative? Where I think most people go wrong when they start that is they try to create some measurement that's new and different and smells different, looks different. And you absolutely cannot do that. You have to do something from a measurement standpoint that looks and feels very similar to how the chief marketing officer, the VP of sales and marketing, the whole marketing team already measures something. And I know you have a take on this, so I'm going to leave that for a second. But I want to talk on the creator side. Actually, I just talked about this this week because we had our VIP meeting recently for content creators, and we talked about when do you start your exit planning?
Yeah.
And you start your exit planning now when you start the business. Why are you doing this? Is this just a hobby? Is this something you want to do as a long-term thing? Is this something you want to see an exit out of? Is this something you want to leave to your kids? I know you don't have all the answers at this point, but you have to think about this now because it affects every other decision you make. So when I started as a content creator in 2007, I was clear. I wanted to create this thing. I wanted there to be an exit. I wanted to be a generational wealth exit for us. And I focused on that. And every decision we made after 2008 was very strategic because I knew what the goal was. Not saying that you have to have it all right now, but at least start with something so you know where you're going. And I guarantee you that 49 out of 50 content creators out there, they don't do this. And what happens is that when you get, if you know that you want to, let's say, sell to another company, you always think about, oh, who would buy this company? What are the kinds of people I need to meet? So when you go to events, you can meet those people and you can do the things over months and years to get to a point to set you up for success when it comes for the time that you need an actual exit. So those are the two things I would talk about. No new measurement from a content marketing side as you build this content marketing thing. And from a creator standpoint, know why you're doing this in the first place, what's your purpose, and what you see as an outcome for what you're doing from a content standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a, and there's a reason that it's the first one we're talking about because it is really the thing that is so lacking on both sides of the fence, right? You know, so from a content marketing perspective, there is this, we should just build it and it'll hopefully help. And there's no objective to it, right? So, you know, or it ends up being that, you know, and this is all too common where we don't understand what the purpose is. And so therefore it gets different purposes, you know, that blog, that newsletter, that resource center, that program, that sort of, there is no goal or objective sort of from the very beginning, you know, or what we want out of it from the very beginning. And thus CEO has one thought in mind, the CMO has another thought in mind, the employees have another thought in mind, and basically everybody's right because there is no standard set, right? There is no goal or objective set. And then it tries to do everything, right? It tries to be, you know, as we've heard so many times during our workshops, right? You've got, you know, well, we have a blog, but it addresses 17 different audiences and it's trying to be a brand. It's trying to be a customer service blog. It's also trying to be a lead generator. And we're like, okay, you know, how's that working out for you? To quote the ridiculous Dr. Phil at this point. And so that idea sort of gets over into what you talk about so often with the content entrepreneur and figuring out that exit strategy because it's so, and the reason I find that most content entrepreneurs don't do it is because they go, well, what if it changes? Like what if my exit strategy change? It will. And
absolutely
probably will change. The point is that you've got a goal and an objective and an exit strategy built in so that you're building, like Joe just said, strategically toward an end game here. And if it changes, it changes. Like if you fall in love with the business and you're like, I'm never going to sell this thing, fantastic. The goal and objective changes. That's fine. But think that through before you actually get to that idea. I made this was definitely my own personal story here because as I built Content Advisory from 2016 onward, right after the acquisition of Content Marketing Institute, I had to spin up very quickly my own thing, own company, own content brand, own thing, do it all. My goal was the very second I opened up the doors on Content Advisory, the goal was build a big enough firm that I could sell it to Forrester or Gartner or somebody like that and sort of, you know, and do an exit strategy. And that worked out very, very poorly for me. That worked out just extraordinarily poorly. It just did not work out at all. And everything changed. And so I did the same. So when I pivoted in, last year, finally pivoted out of it. I mean, I pivoted out of the whole goal of the Forrester thing in 2020 when the universe went, yeah, we got different plans for you. But basically, I pivoted last year to Seventh Bear, and that new brand and content and everything is I already know this is not. I'm not building this thing to exit out. I'm not building this thing to sell it. I am building this thing because it affords me a lifestyle that I love. So it can be a solopreneur thing for me, and I just I can love my job. Basically, I can love my job, and I love my boss because I know that he can never fire me.
I think that's the right way to look at it.
Yeah.
It makes me just thinking about exits. I had a friend of mine, this is a few years ago, had a really successful business, always wanted to leave the business to the kids, but never wrote that goal down and never did anything about that goal, just had it in their heads. Oh, the kids will take it over. Well, unexpectedly passed away and had nothing prepared, and the kids had to figure it out. I mean, I felt so bad for the family and what they had to go through. Here's the thing where they actually knew. They had a really good idea what was going to happen, but never planned for it and took the necessary steps. So anyways,
yeah,
write it down.
Good stuff.
Review it on a regular basis. Know what you're getting into. Really, really important before you start. So,
all right, let's get to number 2. I like it. We're off and running. This is good stuff.
All right. Let's see what we got. We're going to come up here and
boom. There it is. Another awesome graphic. There we go. Oh, for those of you who are listening and not watching, these are great PowerPoint slides.
Yeah, it's very nice. You did a great job with them. Kudos.
Oh, thank you. They were so hard to make.
Hey,
they were so really hard to make.
Everything spelled correctly. That's all we care about.
That's all I care. Well, that's all AI right there. That's what that is. All right. Number 2, indispensable. I know it's your new favorite word. Number 2 is about becoming indispensable or invisible. If your show disappeared tomorrow, if the thing that you're doing disappeared tomorrow, would anyone care? And this is something to think through as you're thinking through what it is you want to do and be known for. And I know you've got a very specific take on this, so take us away and kick us off.
Yeah, I want to hear yours as well. But You're right. My new favorite word is indispensable, and there's so much content clutter out there, more than ever before. I mean, never seen anything like it. I told somebody the other day, I said, "How was it when you started in 2007?" I said, "A lot easier to break through all the clutter."
Yeah,
I mean, and that was not even 20 years ago. So there we go. First of all, what's your show? You have a show, you have a thing. You don't have all kinds of things all over place in different channels. You have one show. What is that show?
Yep.
For what particular audience? Be very specific with that particular audience. When you have that, you're going to deliver that show consistently. That means what's the frequency? You're going to deliver that every day, every week, whatever, at the same time. And do you have a content tilt? We talk about that, a differentiation that is truly unique, interesting, and here's the thing that a lot of people forget about: is there money? This goes for the content marketing side or the content creator side.
That's right.
Like if for the content creator side, if you're doing something around, I'm not gonna, nothing against butterflies, but let's say it's catching butterflies or is there money? Will somebody support that? Will it be supported by the community itself, or is there sponsorship support? Because your first revenue channel is going to be, for a content creator, probably advertising and sponsorship. We're going to go after that first. So is that there? And so I would look at that. And then on the content marketing side is, I know that some things, we talked about this a second ago, some things can't be measured. If you look at ask somebody, say, "Hey, are you married, Robert?" And you'll say, "Yeah, I'm married." I say, "Do you love your wife?" And you say, "Absolutely love my wife." Well, can you measure it?
Right.
Tell me how. Prove that. Some things can't be measured, but in marketing, it really is helpful if you can measure that. So what is that? Where is that coming from? How is that going to be supported internally? How is that going to be supported externally to make sure you can keep it going so you get to a point where you build a minimum viable audience and you can take your content marketing program to the next stage? So I think is it differentiated enough and interesting enough so you can keep this thing going long enough to build an audience?
That's it. Yep. That's it. Or whatever your metric of success is, right? It might be money. It might be leads. It might be, whatever that metric of success is the thing going to drive that metric of success? I said this, I did, I think it was last year at my talk at CEX. And I talked about the thing that, that one of the sort of greatest lies out there is, do what you love and the money will follow, which is not true. If you do what you love and everybody else loves it too, then the money will follow. And so you've got to do something that you love to do. There's no doubt about that. Passion is an incredibly important part of this, but passion alone is not going to sell tickets. And so you've got to, whatever that metric of success is, if you're building it if you just want to do it as a side hustle, in many ways, our podcast here is a great example of that, right? We don't do this because we make a ton of money at it. We do see some business value out of it, but the reason we do it is because we love doing it. We have a passion for doing it, but we don't expect this necessarily to be a huge cash cow for us, right? This is not what this is built to do. And so your own goals will be very, very specific, but the key is that you have to set those metrics about what it is that success means. And to your point about the whole idea of focus here, you have a show. Such an important piece of this in content marketing. Still to this day, one of the biggest problems that we solve when I work with clients is getting them out of the mindset of container first and then content, right? The idea is that we continually think, I need blogs, I need emails, I need webinars, I need an ebook, I need a white paper, I need whatever the thing is. And then we go, great, okay, how are we going to fill it full of awesome content? And instead, we have to build the show, build the content, build the story, build the value first, and then figure out all the multiple channels you want to put it on with a focus on bringing people into a sphere of influence that you own. And it's as simple as that. When and again, just to put this into personal context, one of the things I have struggled with over the last 3 years is getting a newsletter that I feel like people like and is indispensable, right? I would send my newsletter and not a lot would happen, right? I would send it, and not a lot would happen and not a lot would happen. And I have, I don't have a big newsletter list. It's a couple of thousand people on that, but they're very valuable people and I love them all dearly, but it's not huge. But the point being, there was not much, I wasn't getting much return on it. And I didn't really, and I really struggled with, how do I make this different? How do I make this a show? How do I make this something that is something that people want to open and want to see? And I finally, I believe, cracked the code on it, which was basically making it really personal and sort of, basically taking my, whatever you might call thought leadership to that, and basically sending it on, a much slower sort of cadence, like, twice a month or so, but doing it consistently. And I'm getting much better results out of it. I'm getting much, much better results out of it as a result of that, and focusing in and finally, just iterating and changing and working it to where it's like something that actually I know people really like. And so that's the point of all this. If you're a content creator today, you've got to work at the thing that is your, what story, what value, what differentiation you're going to provide, and then center on that sphere of influence.
Very good. Good. Love the example. Maybe as an example to our audience.
Oh, see what you're going to do now? We should
show one of those revenue generating activities.
That's right.
And show a little.
Do it.
Do it.
Pull the damn lever.
You sure?
Yeah.
Should I?
Should
I do it? It's right here. I can do it. I can do it. Okay.
Marketing in 2025 is wild. Savvy customers spot fake messaging instantly. Privacy changes make ad targeting a nightmare, and everyone needs more content than ever before. That's why you have to check out HubSpot's new Marketing Trends Report. It doesn't just show you what's changing, it shows you exactly how to deal with it. Everything's backed by research and focused on marketing plays that you can use now. Ready to turn marketing hurdles into results? Go to clickhubspot.com/marketing to download it for free. Do you want a profitable new podcast to listen to? Well, let me introduce you to Content is Profit, hosted by Louise and Fonzie Camejo and brought to you by the HubSpot Podcast Network. Discover the secrets and strategies on how your business can achieve the frictionless sale. On Content is Profit, they talk about frameworks, strategies, tactics, and they bring special guests in to bring you all the information you need in order to turn your content into profit. Yeah, funny how that works out. You can find Content into Profit wherever you follow your favorite pods. There you go. There you go. Find out.
That's it.
Find out.
I need so after that you need to make me edible music.
Nice.
So that we can go into, if you only get that if you listen to the last episode.
That's right.
If you didn't, then you don't. But some people we found this is just a interesting point of measurement.
Yes.
Our special episodes generally do better.
They do.
They do better because it's on a particular topic, and if somebody just needs that, boom, they get that. I don't know how I feel about that, because
I don't know how I feel about it either, because I love doing the news shows. I love covering the news and being snarky about it and doing our hot takes and and all of that. But I do recognize that sometimes our special episodes.
Sometimes they just want to hear from us.
Yeah,
I mean, what's wrong with that?
I think.
Next.
Oh, that's a great line from Toy Story when he's sitting in the conference room and he's like, "What's fun about that?" Like, so it's a bug that turns into a dinosaur. What's fun about that?
Speaking of edibles. Oh no. Okay.
Yeah.
Here we go. Let's see. Are we on to number 3?
We are.
Number three.
The Hustler's Dilemma. I want to write a book called The Hustler's Dilemma, by the way.
Isn't there already a book called you know what I wanted to write? I wanted to write a book called Less Stupid. But there's a book called The Road Less Stupid that just came out a few years ago.
Oh, that's good. Less Stupid is great. It's a great title. It's a great title.
Do that because that's my goal. By the way, it's not to be perfect. It's not to be better. It's to be less stupid than the average person.
Yeah, that's right.
Setting the low expectations really helps for me.
That's right. We had T-shirts made when I was in a consulting firm. That basically my team. I had a big team working on a huge. It was the biggest project in the company at the time. Huge, big website build. And I had 17 people on my team working on this giant website, and we all got T-shirts that said "We suck less."
There's nothing. You know what? If you took that as a financial strategy, and you're just don't make stupid mistakes, it's the best thing you can do.
Yeah.
Right?
So how does it pertain to our Joe? Give us the wisdom. How does it pertain to our content creator and content marketing strategy?
So when I started and left corporate America, I felt I had to do all the things, be in all the places. And I mean, a lot of you might feel the same way. You've got to be in 6, 7, 8 different platforms, channels, whatever. And I have found over my years that is generally not a winning formula. And if I had to start over, I would pick one for the most part, focus my energy on that one show, but really early on build audience and aggressively build that audience, maybe even to the extent of, I'm not going to generate revenue from this right away. I'm going to set the right expectations with my content marketing team and say for the first 9 to 12 months, we are going to aggressively build an audience that knows, likes, and trusts us. And along with that means that if you're going to break our time down into versus content versus promotion, I'm going to spend 1/3 of my time and my team's time on content creation. And I'm going to spend 2/3 of that on promoting it or marketing the content. As you say over and over again, the content you create is not marketing. That is your content product, and you have to set up a marketing plan to get that thing marketed.
Yep.
And I would have done that. I mean, I just talked to somebody recently that's like, oh, my newsletter, it's just not growing, whatever. I'm like, well, what are you doing to market it? I'm like, I'm sharing it with people and it's in my signature line and I'm putting it on social media. I'm like, that's not a marketing plan.
Yeah.
It's like you need to spend more, maybe spend less time on the 3 other things that aren't going well for you from a content standpoint, and spend a little bit more time marketing that thing.
Yes, that's yes.
There you go.
It's such a great advice. I mean, so when you think about it, so if you're thinking about a content marketing, and I tell this to clients all the time, and it's honestly a stopping moment for many of them, because this is typically in mid-sized to larger organizations that say, okay, we want to launch something new, right? Whether it's a blog or a resource center or a webinar program or a thought leadership event or whatever the thing is that they want to launch as a content marketing platform. And maybe they've thought through the goals, and maybe they've thought through the objectives of what they want to do in the short term. And they've put together a pretty salient business plan for building the thing. But what they haven't done is sort of treat it like its own product. And what I ask them is, I say, is this as important as a new product or service that you would launch? And it always gets a little bit of a chuckle. No, this is marketing. This is a marketing thing. This is not. I'm like, then you shouldn't do it. If it's not as important, or in some cases more important, as a product that you would launch. In other words, you're going to market it. You're going to give it the care and feeding, your budget. You're going to give it bandwidth. You're going to give it focus, attention, time, all the things that you would do with a product that you would deliver. And all the requisite runway that it's going to take to become profitable as one of your core products. Then don't do it. Because that's the reason that you're doing it, is because it is going to take time. It isn't going to be profitable on day 2. This is the classic when we launch a blog, and on day 2, the CEO goes, well, is it producing leads yet? No, of course it's not, because you haven't. I mean, day 2 of the blog is the starting line, not the finish line. And
That's
so
right.
you've got to build in the measurement, objectives, and profitability into your plan. And part of that comes in the and so you say all the time, spend more money promoting than you actually do, in terms of the money you spend should be much more actually than the amount of money that you're necessarily putting into the content, right? You've got to
So
out,
true.
especially today, in today's world. You can't, what I also tell clients is, like, money is a function of time. And so if you have time, like if you've got 9 to 12 to 18 months to make this thing profitable, you can afford to do it organically and with word of mouth and by building it, with organic programs. If you don't have that time, you need to spend the money to shorten that time horizon so that you can get more audience faster.
And by the way, CEOs and CMOs are really, really patient when things are going well.
Yes.
And when things are not going well, your program will most likely get cut.
That's right.
Unless you have some really, really good stats.
That's right.
That it's working.
I'm hearing from so many of my brothers and sisters out there in tech land that are content marketers that are getting themselves and the programs they did cut simply because it was easy to cut, and it was hard to see the ROI. And you're not done. I mean, Julie Fleischer at Kraft used to say this every single time we would see her at Content Marketing World. She'd be like, I'm one of the most successful content marketing programs out there. Like, I'm mentioned in case studies, and people talk about me at award shows, and they talk about us on stage in their keynotes, and they constantly use us as examples. And every single day I'm fighting the business case to keep this thing alive.
Isn't that crazy? It's so nuts.
Yeah.
It still happens today.
Yeah, absolutely does. All right. Number four here, very quickly. Video killed the podcast star. Love that. See, I'm bringing it all home with the 80s references.
I love it.
But not really. Not really. Video is a thing, I heard, Joe. Video is kind of a thing these days. Yeah. So
I want to get your
how does
take.
it pertain to the content creator and the content marketing star of tomorrow?
I want to get your take on this as well, because I've always believed that the media channels that you select for your content marketing program or your creator program is sort of like Harry Potter's sorting hat, right? Like, you do get a say. Like, even though there's trends in video or there's trends in AI or whatever, you get a say. Like, what are you good at? What do you like doing? Are you a good writer? Are you good on radio? Who knows what in your organization? And then that then you select your channel based on that. So I still believe that, but all that said, I think you're missing something if you don't realize that video of some kind, a video produced show, seems to get more leverage today just because all the attention seems to be going to those platforms. I still love the podcast newsletter model, but it seems like we've gone to the video podcast model and then some kind of an email deliverable. So if I was starting today, I would like, okay, can I do a regular show? As part of that regular show, can there be video? And is there some kind of an ebook, research guide, something that people will download so I can start to get that data? Because I know I'm going to be on a platform where I don't get that data. So can I start to get that? And ultimately that thing becomes a newsletter or a regular communication piece. So that's kind of how I think I would start.
Yeah.
But I wanted to get your opinion to see if I'm off base with that.
No, I think you're right on the money. I would actually expand it out just slightly. What I would say, and this is especially true for content marketers today, which is I continually see businesses, and this is small, medium, and large businesses, where the typical candidate for the show or the content or the webinar is going to be the head of marketing, the head of product, the CEO, the CMO, and they are awful. They're just not good at it. In other words, and I've been watching this literally this week, VPs of marketing at various tech companies give webinars, and their slide goes up and they're like, and in the first quarter, what we're talking about is that, we have various synergies that are working together, and they're just not good on video. They're just not good on audio. They're not good presenters. So you've got to invest in your performers. That means either helping those executives, helping those people become better on video, become better performers, become better presenters, or investing in the people in your organization who can be. Right. Yes. Just because you're the VP of marketing does not mean that you have to be the mouthpiece for the actual content itself, the content shows that you're building, whether it's a podcast, whether it's a video show, et cetera. As a tactic, video is 100% the modus operandi these days, whether it's on video on social media, video on TikTok, video on YouTube, video in webinars, video in, even, B2B one-to-one presentations. But the investment in the performance is a show after all, and you have to be good at it. And so I would encourage, whether you're a content entrepreneur and you're going to start doing video, you're going to start doing a podcast, invest in yourself to get the training and that you feel like you're good at it and you actually get that performance level training, because it's so important. It is the key and the crux of what you're able to do as a content person.
Do you know who Jay Shetty is?
Yes, 100%. I know
mindfulness, wellness, whatever. I listened to his story, and I did not realize that he started at a very, very young age with public speaking training. I think he said 13 years old, and he had 13 through 18. And how valuable is that? Like, I really wish that schools today, I mean, who knows? Are we going to have schools next? I don't know what's happening with schools in America, but I would love to see them have a performance or public speaking class in every year. Yeah, because it's going to be so important.
It's such a huge, it's such a great point, right? Is that having public speaking, having presentation skills, having all of that is such a key skill these days in terms of what you're doing, even just in meetings, even just helping training in terms of how you present virtually in Zoom meetings is great. But performance level training,
it's just so.
I took, coming up, the way I did, I took improv classes, I took acting classes. Of course, I'm a trained musician, and learned and took the went to speaking, I went to classes, invested in myself, and went and got taught how to do keynotes. You invest in yourself to get better at the thing that you need to get better at.
Amen. Good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right.
And rounding third.
Last not least, the Creator's Playbook: what you do right, what you do wrong, and what needs to change. I always call this starting your stopping list. What say you, Mr.
I love that. I want to hear more about that. So my concept, and I've been using this basically since my wife told me I had to stop doing some things that I was so poor at. which is a lot of the detail operations with the business. And this started probably in
Right.
2009. But I made a list, and I do this every 6 months or so. I'll say on the one side, what are the things that I'm doing right now in the business that I love to do? I write those things down. And then I add to those, what are the things that I'm also good at? Other things that I'm also good at doing in the business. And I write those down. Put those to the side. Those are the things I want to keep doing. And on the other side, what are the things that I don't like to do?
Right.
And what are the things that I'm not good at? Be honest with yourself. And if you're not honest with yourself, ask a coworker what you're not good at, or ask your significant other. And then what you want to do is keep all that stuff you're good at, keep all that stuff that you love doing, and then find somebody else in the organization to do those other things, or go hire to get those things that you're not good at done. And you will see yourself triple, quadruple your efficiency, and you'll get much better at your content marketing or your content creation. So that is my, and I want to hear about yours. What's your, you said it's a stopping list?
Yes, starting a stopping list. This is something that I introduced in our book. And if you had read our book, you would have remembered that. But
is this
I can't resist.
I can't resist. Now I recall.
Yeah,
now
you do.
Yes,
do you recall?
Yeah, you've written books with a lot of other people that are not me.
No,
it could have
I
been
haven't.
in another book.
I haven't. I've written
Yes,
books
you
with
have.
one other. No, I've written books with one other person other
Just
than
Carla?
you. Yes, that's the one other person. Thank you very much.
Oh, I thought that you were. I thought that you were.
No,
writing with other
I'm pretty loyal to the Pulitz. Pretty loyal to the Chewbacca.
Go on. No, I want to hear about this stopping list thing that's completely new to me. I've never heard of before.
It's basically what I encourage all. It comes out of work that I do a lot on with teams, which is, and this is just really hard because what happens is in many businesses, and this is especially true in larger businesses, and it's less true as you sort of move down the scale of size. And mostly because of the politics involved, but it's basically, the story behind it is that I'll sit in a room with a group of marketers, maybe 10 or 15 marketers on a team, and they want to do new things, right? They want to do a new blog or a new resource center or a new podcast or a new newsletter, whatever it is, right? They want to do the new thing. And yes, everybody's excited. We basically bat it around and blah, blah, blah. And in one particular case, I did this with a group of people, and we whiteboarded it out. We did the objectives, we did the storyboards, we did the whole plan. We put it together, objectives and goals and measurement and all. We did all the right things, right? And it was like everybody is super excited about it. And the meeting breaks up for lunch, and everybody's going out to lunch. And as I'm packing up my laptop and all that kind of stuff, the VP comes over to me and he goes, "Hey, I could really use your help with a new headcount for this." And I said, "What do you mean new headcount?" He said, "Well, we're going to have to, this is a really cool new thing, but we're going to have to get new headcount to actually do this." And I said, "Wait a minute, you've got these teams over here working on this dead end blog that is going nowhere. They're experts in the business. They know the business. They know the topic. They know the subject matter. They're excited about it. Why wouldn't you just give it to them and just kill the old blog?" And he goes, "Well, it's not that easy." He said, "They report to so-and-so, and then we have to get their permission and their buy-in, and then they're going to have to change their jobs." And it's just, and I said, "So you're going to leave this team doing a going nowhere fast blog, and then hire brand new people who are unproven and to do this innovative new thing?" And he's like, "Yeah, that's pretty much the size of it." It's like institutional momentum kills new innovation. And so you just continually add and add and add and add, and nothing gets done in an excellent way. And so I said, you've got to start a stopping list, like things that aren't working that you're going to stop doing and change. And that starting a stopping list is something that I encourage every marketing team to do. When, like my own, I do my own. What am I stopping? Right. I've stopped doing my own podcast because it wasn't working. I stopped doing the news show last year with CMI because it wasn't working. Mm-hmm. Starting that stopping list and then allows you the bandwidth and the ability to start something new. But you got to stop doing the unproductive thing first before you add the new thing. And that's what I mean by that.
I love that. I remember like in the early days when I actually went to consulting engagements with you and I watched you lead these calls. We would go in depth and do like a cursory content audit. And instead of them coming out of that meeting with 17 new things. It was generally, here's the 3 or 4 things we have to kill immediately that aren't working to free up resources so we can do something that's going to work. And I love that. So it was always different. Their expectations were, oh, here's the content, guys. They're going to recommend this new innovative thing. And we're like, well, why are you doing this? And why are you doing that? Sometimes it's hard to ask.
And by the way, you don't have to be like, sort of the whole, you today as a content creator, it's no doubt we need a big footprint. Like you need a social media footprint, you need a search footprint, you need a big footprint out there, not just on your own blog, but actually out on guest blogging, out on getting guested on podcasts, out on doing guest posts, out on doing social media, doing all the things that give you a bigger footprint. That's like sort of the new content hack, if you will, is you've got to have a big content footprint out there of value. But the key is that you've also got to decide where you're not going to be, where you're not, like I have recently decided, what, I'm not giving any more attention and love to Threads. I tried it. I like it, but you know what? I'm not getting any results there. I don't really care about it. I forget to go there. I don't find value in it. I'm stopping it. And I'm going to move, all of my efforts into sort of microblogging to Blue Sky, right? Because I'm loving Blue Sky. I like Blue Sky. So that's, so you've got to figure out not continually adding, but stopping to add.
I'm going to continue to only be on LinkedIn.
There you go. Yeah.
And do nothing else.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I want to spend time on.
There you go.
Is the conversations there.
Well, that was fun.
Awesome. That was good. I hope that was helpful for everyone.
I hope that was helpful for those out there. And if you've got questions about that, folks, throw them into a voicemail, throw them into a video. We would love to do that because we can address them on future shows. So,
and when you go to thisoldmarketing.com, you can actually record.
That's amazing.
Using that tool there, or you can upload or send us a Dropbox link to a video or
technology. We've got technology.
MP3. I know it's unbelievable. We'll show your face on here.
Boom.
Maybe, probably, possibly. All right, good. I love that. What do you got? What do you got now? What do you?
I'm continuing to work and I am, I'm doing a lot of writing. I'm doing a lot of writing of long form. I'm working on a lot of, I don't even like calling them white papers anymore. Just sort of more sort of long form content research. I guess research would be the right way. I'm doing a lot of research on agentic AI. I'm doing a lot in the work of AI generally in content processes and how it's working in marketing. And then I'm working on a big paper on data. So all that deeper, it's taking a lot of time and I'm enjoying it very much, by the way, but it's, I'm sort of neck deep in research at the moment.
Well, quick shout out to Content Entrepreneur Expo, where you and I will both be keynoting August 24th to 26th. The end of early bird discounting is on the 31st of March. So if you want the absolute best price to come to Cleveland, August 24th, 26th for 3 days of how to build your content business, we'd love to see you there. And so that's cex.events. You can get that at, and that'll be fun. Yeah, you and I on the same stage again.
It's gonna be fun. I can't wait. It's gonna be so much fun.
It's gonna be good.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody. We hope you enjoyed this special episode. It's really been fun for us to dive into this stuff. As we said, we love doing these special episodes. And if you've got ideas for special episodes that you'd like to hear, again, hit us up. Hit us up with email. Hit us up with comments. Hit us up, and we would love to do more special episodes. We need to do them as we travel and do other things. So do that. Next week, we'll be back with a regular news show. And until we see you again next week, remember, it's your story to tell. Tell it well. We'll see you next week on This Old Marketing. Hey, thanks a lot for making it this far in this week's episode, and thank you all for being a part of This Old Marketing. You can check out all the show notes of what we talked about today at thisoldmarketing.com, and it's also where you can leave us a review or a voicemail. We need those reviews and comments on whichever platform you follow us on. And if you haven't followed the podcast, please go do that and make sure you catch the latest and greatest episodes every Friday morning. We're on Apple and Spotify and all your other favorite podcatchers, of course, but we'd love it if you went over and subscribed to us on YouTube. That's right, YouTube. youtube.com/@thisoldmarketing. We'll see you again next week, folks, with another episode of This Old Marketing.